Boston Celtics cruise to an easy win over Portland. Payton Pritchard closes the game, looks good doing it. And Jaylen Brown gets to 10,000 points. Does he have a Hall of Fame case brewing? Talking about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season, drop Drew in the mix. And 3 from KP, no we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Juice, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On NASA. Karalis on the breakdown, clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I've got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts when they play on weekends. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Hop into the comment section. Let me know what you think. If you're new to the show, I'm John Karalis. I used to play a long time ago. Now I'm covering the Celtics as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal, and today I'm talking about the Boston Celtics. Very easy 124-107 win over the Portland Trailblazers, who are not trying at all, who are just half their team is hurt. DeAndre Ayton, it was just kind of sad to see him play defense. Didn't care. It's just that team is mailing in the rest of the season, and the Celtics are not really exactly going and grabbing these games by the horns, but they're so good that they can kind of half-ass it and win by a very fair amount. 17 points in this game. Super easy win. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Later on, I'll talk about Payton Pritchard closing the game and all that stuff. I'll get to Jaylen Brown stuff in just a minute because it's kind of the bulk of the show. Let's just talk a little bit about this game, which the Celtics, you talk about margins and all that stuff. Normally, this would be a game where you say, oh, boy, the Celtics, they came away with this win, even though they lost the margins. Celtics shot 87 field goal attempts. They gave up 22 offensive rebounds, which helped fuel 102 field goal attempts for the Portland Trailblazers. That's one of the margins that Joe Mazzulla talks about. In general, when you give up that many shot attempts, it's obviously more opportunity for a team to make baskets. And you even look at it where the Celtics shot 56% from the field, 42% from three. They kind of almost had to shoot that well to overcome the disparity in shot attempts, because the Portland Trailblazers are just god awful and they didn't shoot well. But when you give up that many shots, even a team that doesn't shoot well, 39% for the Blazers, makes 40 baskets. This is one of those things that when Joe Mazzulla is talking about this in an actual game that actually means something, you give up 102 shots, a team that doesn't shoot well still makes 40 field goals. The Celtics made 49. And so that's just something that in a real setting, not a end of season, Portland sucks, you're kind of mailing it in and you give up 22 offensive rebounds. That could be something that would be damaging when you give up that many shot attempts. Shot margin is a very important stat to Joe Mazzulla. And that's why when you win that battle, you give yourself an opportunity to win a game. They lost this by 17, the Blazers. You make a decent amount of shots, you're right there. And they weren't like, this wasn't a blowout by any standard definition of the blowout. It was a 6-point game or maybe a 6-point game after the first quarter. There was like 7 points at halftime and 8 points after the third. And the Celtics just kind of messed around. And like I said, 22 offensive rebounds. That's, DeAndre Ayton had 7. Jabari Walker had 6, so that's a big bulk of it. And it's not like it was just a bunch of tip-ins. They went out and got legitimate offensive rebounds. It was funny after the game. Joe was asked about the offensive rebounding, and normally he tries to give like a somewhat meaningful answer, and he knew what the answer was. When you ask why did you give up 22 offensive rebounds, the real answer is, we just didn't care and it didn't matter against this team, and we're just kind of playing like half speed. And normally we would box out. He literally said, some of those you just have to box out. That was the entirety of his answer. He couldn't even like gather enough to be like fake meaningful. He's just like, we just got to box out. And as simple as that. The translation there is, we didn't care. We didn't play that hard. And, next time we'll actually get some rebounds. I think generally speaking, the Celtics, I mean, they turned up their defense when they needed to. They did give up a bunch of offensive rebounds, but that helped lead to 8 blocked shots, 5 for Kristaps Porzingis. A couple of those, there was the one possession where Tillman gets a block, Porzingis gets a block, and then a second block. Well, there's 2 offensive rebounds. When you block a shot and catch it, that is a rebound because it is a shot that is attempted. And when it is blocked, it just doesn't make it all the way to the rim. When you catch it, that counts as a rebound. So to be fair, 2 of those offensive rebounds come from that scenario there, right? So when the Celtics block shots and they get it back, those are offensive rebounds. So, a couple of tip back your own misses. It doesn't look, it's not quite as bad as it looks, but still not great. But that helped, the Celtics defense stepped up when it needed to. Porzingis stepped up defensively when he needed to. He did a good job. 2 block shots for Tillman. You get a block from Jaylen Brown. So the Celtics did a good job protecting the rim for the most part. They had 34 assists. They moved the ball well. That's the gist of the game, right? That is just the gist of, that's the entirety of the game. So that normally I would spend 3 segments talking about, okay, this and that and that. No, that's it. That's the end of the game discussion. Later on, I'll talk about Payton Pritchard, continuing the game discussion a little bit in a sort of way, but more in that what we can look at from what Payton Pritchard's been doing the last couple of games, where maybe there's a translation there to the playoffs. But let's get to Jaylen Brown. Like that's the big story, right? Jaylen Brown crosses 10,000 points. Jaylen Brown on a night where Chauncey Billups walks in the door as a newly minted Hall of Fame, not inductee, but he's getting into the Hall of Fame. He's newly elected to the Hall of Fame. I've made this case before, but on a night where Billups walks in, newly elected to the Hall of Fame, and Jaylen Brown crosses 10,000 points, there is a case to be made for, we are really seeing the beginning of a Jaylen Brown Hall of Fame case. I'll run that all down in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy because you just pick more or less on the projections. You're not playing against one of their 3 million members. You're playing against the numbers. You pick 2 or more players. They pick the stats. You pick the stats. They pick the number, and you say more or less. Steph Curry, more or less than 29 points. Nikola Jokic, more or less than 10 rebounds. If you get them right, those wins pile up. You can win money. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as few as 4 correct picks, because it is demon time on Prize Picks. You can go and pick the numbers there with the demons and goblins, all that stuff. You can go and get some real big payouts. So go look for that. You can get in on the action to get up to 100 times your money as look at the NBA playoffs. You can partake in that. When the play-in and the playoffs begin, there's going to be special deals on that. You missed the opportunity on women's college basketball. Congratulations to NC State. the men's basketball tournament, you can get in on that. There's plenty of opportunities to get in, pick more or less. And and it could be any sport. There's sports all over the place on Prize Picks. So go have fun, pick more or less, and enjoy yourself. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get a first deposit match up to $100. So you make your first deposit, whatever it is, up to $100. They'll match that up to $100. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA when you download the game, the Prize Picks app. So go check that out. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports Today. It's real sports talk, real conversation, not fake arguing. Check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7, streaming on YouTube. Can't miss analysis, can't miss opinions. This show makes it on there every once in a while. So go check it out on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Jaylen Brown scored 26 points, 10 of 17 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line. Nice night. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. Nice game from Jaylen Brown. No Jayson Tatum in this one. So, he got the night off. Jaylen had a nice game. Now, Jaylen also scored his 10,000th point in this one. Nice lefty layup. Okay, maybe he would have traveled. Maybe he traveled. After he scored it, he looked at the Portland bench. He was like, travel. I walked down that one, which is funny. It's actually a pretty funny kind of taunt to be like, oh, I just did something illegal and didn't get called. Just scored on you. So anyway, he gets the 10,000 points. And, I've made the case before that there's a path for him to make the Hall of Fame. And it was especially kind of like appropriate, I think, now to look at it and say, okay, here's Chauncey Billups. And Chauncey has a resume that you're like, oh, interesting. And I was having a conversation with a bunch of people in the media dining room before the game. You're like, I was asked, like, Michael Cooper, is he a Hall of Famer? Chauncey Billups, is he a Hall of Famer? I was actually talking to Cedric Maxwell about this. He was part of the conversation. And we were just talking about, like, it's kind of like iffy about a couple of these guys, but okay. So Chauncey Billups gets in. He's a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defensive. He has like a nice resume, right? He's got a championship. He's known as Mr. Big Shot. So he's got clutch. He's, that clutchness in him. So he's known for hitting big shots. So it all adds up to a nice resume. Is it really a Hall of Fame resume? I've seen people pose the question: is he part of the Hall of Fame, or should he be part of the Hall of Very Good? And it's debatable. I'm not sure. I'm kind of not sure. I'm a little surprised that Chauncey got in, but he's in. And now you look at Chauncey Billups, and it kind of like, all right, if that's the bar to get in, now we've really got a case for Jaylen Brown, because he's going to be better than Chauncey Billups. He's already better than Chauncey Billups was. Now, Chauncey's obviously, like I said, got the clutch gene, and he's a champ. So he has that stuff working for him, which Jaylen has to still work towards, right? He has to win a championship, at least one. If he doesn't get a Finals MVP, which Billups has, if he doesn't get that Finals MVP, he probably has to win a second championship, which is entirely possible. This Celtics team is a championship contender, legitimately the favorite to win the championship. Them in Denver. We all know that. So, okay, fine. If the Celtics can get that, if Jaylen Brown can get a championship this year, run it back. If he can get it again next year, that would be even better. That's possible. But Jaylen getting his 10,000th point, you're like, okay, wait a second now. 10,000 points. He's 27 years old. What's the path to 20,000? Because 20,000 is a very kind of exclusive club. Right now, there's only 51 players who are at 20,000. Giannis is probably going to get there next year. Paul George, Anthony Davis are probably going to get there in 2 seasons. Kyrie Irving can do it in 2, maybe 3, depending on how many games he plays. But it's still like it's not like, 10, 15, 20. It's a very small number of guys that get to 20,000. The 20,000 doesn't guarantee you get into the Hall of Fame. Joe Johnson has 20,000 points. I don't think he's getting into the Hall of Fame, but most of those guys are in, right? To get to 20,000, you have to be a damn good basketball player. So most of those guys are in, and so it's a number that we can look at. Jaylen gets to 10,000 at 27. He's going to score about 1,600 points this season. Can he score 1,600 points for 4 more seasons? It only gets you to 31. That's very doable. I think 1,600. Just play like this for the next 4 years. You're very much in your prime. So if he does that, then he gets to 16,500 at 31 years old. That means he's got 2, 3, 4 years. He gets to 35. Now it depends on how he ages, right? Depends. Is he going to fall off a cliff at 31, 32? Is he going to kind of glide into, maybe not like at 32 years old? Is he going to be like, well, maybe I'm a third option now? And you kind of get to that point of your career, or is he going to be a number 1 option? Who knows? But the whole point is at 31, it does depend, but he'll be 3,500 shy. So for the next 4 years, from 31 to 35, all he'll have to do if he plays 60 games a season would be to average 14.5 points a game. That's doable. I think it's doable. It's not like perfect. And, you say 14.5. Well, the first year, 32, if I'm talking about him averaging like over 20 at 31. So at 32, maybe he drops down to 20 or 19. And at 33, he drops down to like 19 or 18. And then it goes down to 14. And then it goes down to like 12. You can have that and it all works out. Point is, there's a path to 20,000 points for Jaylen Brown. That's something that he can do. All-Star, he's got 3. He can get a few more. I mean, I think Jaylen Brown is playing, if he's playing like this, and it just depends on how other players play, like the ascension of certain guys, Paolo Banchero, the young guys in the East that have the potential, and whoever gets drafted, comes in and could potentially take a spot that might belong to him. Though there are a number of different things, but can he get to 6, 7 All-Star appearances? I think 10 is a magic number when it comes to All-Star. Can he get to 10? I don't know. I don't know if he can get to 10. Maybe he can. I'm not saying he can't. At this point, I've learned you can't say anything about what Jaylen Brown can't do. Every time I say he can't do something, he does it. So, I've learned my lesson. So I don't know. I don't know what he's going to get to. I think he can get to 4 or 5 more all-star appearances. So that would get him to 7 or 8. Okay. That's close. He's got 1 all NBA. Can he get 3 more? He's going to get 1 this year, I think. So that'll get him to 2. Can he get 2 more after that and get to 4? Can he get to 5? If you've got 20,000 points and you've got 3, 4, 5 all NBA selections and 5, 6, 7 all-star selections and a championship or 2, now that's a Hall of Fame case. That's an absolute Hall of Fame case. Because now you're talking about overall record. Now, if you've got a championship under your belt, then people start to go like, and look at how many good teams he was on. 60-win seasons, 50-win seasons, all of these seasons, all of this time, he never missed the playoffs in his career until, or maybe it was like until whatever. Maybe he never does. Maybe he never does. That would be a hell of a thing to be able to put on there on a Hall of Fame resume. But I'm sure you can hear it as I'm talking. You're like, yeah, that 20,000 points plus some all-stars plus some all NBA. Maybe you throw in an all defense this year somewhere, maybe something else along the way. Who knows? Then it becomes like, yeah, he'll certainly surpass Chauncey Billups, who's got not even 16,000 points, and the other accolades that I mentioned already. It's the title and the Finals MVP for Chauncey. That's the big thing, and that's where Jaylen, I don't know if he's going to get a Finals MVP. He certainly can. that's just having one good series. So that can go to anybody. Andre Iguodala has one. So, like those, it can go to anybody who has a good series. So he could win a Finals MVP this year. He could win a championship this year and next year. If you start, and that's kind of what makes this, from a selfish perspective for Jaylen Brown, winning a championship this season is huge for him, for Jayson Tatum, the same thing, for guys who are on the cusp and who want to like build this case. A championship now, like, I don't know what Drew Holiday, like, he's not going to make the Hall of Fame, but you throw a couple of championships his way. He's got one with Milwaukee, one in Boston, two in Boston. You start to be like, well, hey, these championships start to change the conversation. And it certainly helps increase your earning power after you retire from basketball. That's another thing. Once you're a champ, like, you get, it's like getting into the Hall of Fame. You just get checks. Whenever your career is over, you're a champ. You still get checks, autographing stuff, going to, showing up on TV. Like when Jaylen Brown is my age, he can be on NBA TV talking about basketball. And, will I be around to see that? I don't know. But, it's a chance to be like, and it's the champion Jaylen Brown. It's the Hall of Famer Jaylen Brown. Like, that stuff makes you money. So win a championship this year, boys. Him and Jayson, especially, that just adds to their case. I think Jaylen Brown can make a Hall of Fame case. Will he? That's just up to time, and we'll see. I can't say he's going to. I feel like Jayson's going to have a little bit more certainty with, his trajectory, but still, you have the potential here for two Hall of Famers on this team. So, we'll see. Payton Pritchard closing the game for the Celtics. I'll go back to the game, the stuff that's been on the floor for the last couple of games, and Payton Pritchard as the closer. I'll talk about that next. Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is going to help you find quality professionals that are right for your role. This is something that's going to make you the Brad Stevens of whatever job you're hiring for. Brad, maybe this is a little secret. Maybe he's got a little LinkedIn job somewhere helping him out with his coaching searches and his player searches. Whatever it is, LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. It's not just another job board. It has a vast, wide network of more than 1 billion professionals. That makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. And it does it all while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They've even launched a new feature that helps you write the job descriptions, making that even quicker and easier. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. Why aren't you one of them? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. I normally host on Wednesdays. I won't be doing it this week because Celtics play in Milwaukee on Tuesday. So go check that out. Whoever's filling in for me, I'm sure is going to be great because we got great hosts across the network. And it's a fun show covering the league as a whole. So go check it out wherever you get your podcasts. And by the way, when the Celtics do play, make sure you're listening to the audio feed. If you can't watch it on TV, the audio feed on the SiriusXM app is a great place. You listen to Grandy and Max. Sync it up with your TV. If you're watching on a national broadcast, which I think the Milwaukee game, it is a national broadcast. You don't like that, mute your TV, sync up the SiriusXM with the picture. Boom, you've got Grandy and Max calling the game. Perfect. Payton Pritchard is the going back to the Celtics on the floor against the Blazers. Pritchard in the fourth quarter accounted for 23 of Boston's 31 fourth quarter points. That was either scoring with the 10 points that he scored or the assists that were worth 13 points between the dunks and the three-pointers. So 23 of Boston's 31 points were a direct result of Payton Pritchard either scoring or assisting. which is pretty cool. That's a nice stat for him. He fueled the run in the middle of the fourth quarter to win that game, to put the game away, I should say. And he played the whole fourth quarter. Him, Sam, Tillman, Shvee all played the whole fourth quarter, and then a split between Luke Cornett and O'Shea Brissett at that fifth spot. But 5 of 8 shooting for Pritchard, and like the types of shots that you need to close out a game, right? You're a team with the lead. I keep talking about it. As a team with the lead in the fourth quarter, all you need to do is make buckets. And Pritchard was getting there. A little mid-ranger, a little shot along the baseline. Just make them. If the ball goes in the hoop, doesn't matter. Against the team that I don't think they were ever really coming back. I never thought the Celtics lead was in jeopardy, but Pritchard was making baskets. He had 10 points and 6 assists. So a really nice fourth quarter. And listen, I think this is an important thing because he is seeing so much resistance. It's not often that Pritchard is on the floor and he is the focal point of the opposing defense. But that's what happened in this game, and that's what happened in the last game. And he's finding a way. He's finding a way to keep his dribble alive. He's finding a way to get to those open spots, make those jumpers, get to the layups, draw fouls, set his teammates up, those types of things, draw attention. It's a real skill for him to just get into the teeth of the defense. It's all about the paint touches. Whether he's driving baseline or driving down the middle, whenever a player, whoever it is, it could be me, it could be you, if you're in the middle of the paint with the ball, you're going to get a lot of attention because the ball is in the middle of the paint and that's a dangerous spot for it to be. So a lot of eyes are going to be on you. So to be like Pritchard and to be able to keep the dribble alive and be able to see where your teammates are and feel where your teammates are and make plays and kind of blow up the defense and make plays out of that. It's an important skill. Now, we do have to remember this was against the Portland Trailblazers, right? And they're playing a bunch of guys that just don't know what the hell they're doing or weren't trying or anything like that. So there is the caveat that, yeah, it's very easy to blow up a defense that sucks, right? If your defense sucks already and you're making it make decisions, then it extra sucks. So it's not like you're playing against one of the top defenses out there and that's what you have to blow up. But he still has the ability, Pritchard does, to get in there and make those plays. It's important because you never know when in a playoff game he's going to make the difference, right? Like Derek White and Drew Holiday are going to get the bulk of the minutes. There are 2 guard spots and it's 48 minutes apiece in that. So what's that, 96 minutes? Well, 40 minutes are going to go to Derek, 35 are going to go to Holiday, so that's 75. And because you can go double big for stretches, that's going to push Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum into one of the guard spots. And so those minutes there get eaten up pretty quickly. But you never know. Maybe somebody gets into foul trouble. Maybe somebody, there's a landing spot situation and he sprains an ankle and has to sit down for a quarter or go in the back and get it checked or whatever. And Pritchard has to come in. I have a ton more faith in Payton Pritchard to come in now. He's been very impressive. It's a super impressive season for him. I think this has been obviously the best season of Pritchard's career. It's a short career, but he's having a hell of a season. I'm impressed with what he's been doing. I'm impressed how he's been able to handle himself. And like after games, when he talks, he's just like, yeah, of course I think I can do this. Like he puts in a ton of work. He's the guy that's out there constantly just getting up shots and practicing and working after practice and working before practice and doing whatever. He talks about like drills that he does. He's like, I always want them to have points involved. I always want them to either win or lose. I need to have that kind of like pressure, that kind of situation where I need to beat somebody, somehow in all of my drills. that's how he gets to be how he is. He's just constantly grinding and constantly pushing himself. So I don't care who it's against. You go out there and put up 10 points and 6 assists in a fourth quarter to open up a lead that was down to 8 at one point, and you open it up to I think one point it got up to like 19, maybe a little bit more. That's important. I think that's important. It's a great job, great work for him, and he's earned a lot of trust in pressure situations. And for me, as a notorious Payton Pritchard skeptic, not his ability, not any of that stuff, but just the opposing teams will target him defensively. Can he do enough to negate that? Starting to think like, hey, whenever that opportunity is, first quarter, fourth quarter, whatever it is, I think he'll be able to handle it. And I think he might have a place in the playoff rotation. So kudos to him. Good stuff. All right, Celtics Bucks again on Tuesday night. That game means nothing. I don't know how these teams are going to play it, but I want to say that because it's going to be a national game, first of all, it's going to be, I think there's going to be some requirement where the Celtics are going to have to play kind of everybody. It's a TNT game. So maybe that's why they rested Tatum. So Tatum's probably going to play. Jaylen seemed fine. He's probably going to play. So they'll go out there and play. I don't know how much they're going to play. So we'll see. The Bucks, I don't know what's going on with them. No one wants to win. The Bucks have lost 4 in a row. Do they want the 2 seed? Do they want the 3 seed? I don't know what to make of this. The Sixers are sitting there looming. I don't know what people want. Are they trying to drop out of the 2 seed? So if the Sixers win the play-in, you don't want to face them in the first round. But if you drop to the 3 seed and the Sixers, who have won 5 games in a row now, if they get up to 6 and you've tanked to get down to 3, guess who you got in the 3-6? So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Milwaukee. I really don't. The Cavs are now in 5th. They've lost 3 in a row. It's going to be a wild finish. I don't know who the Celtics first round opponent might be. It could be seriously any one of like 6 teams: Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Philly, Indy. It's possible that the Cavs, what are they at? 70. So they've got 3 more games, right? 79 they've played. So they got 3 more games. They've lost 3 in a row as it is, and they're 2 games out of the 7th spot. It's still possible that the Cavs could drop into the play-in, which would be wild. So I think New York still has, because they've played 78. So they've got 4 games. They could still fall into the play-in. Anybody, there's only Milwaukee has clinched an actual playoff spot. Everyone else is still technically possible for falling into the play-in. So technically possible: Orlando, New York, Cleveland, Indy, Sixers, Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, all technically possible first round opponents. What a mess. What a mess. I'll be here. I'll cover it all for you. So make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you think there. And I would love it if you share the podcast. If you're an everyday, or if you're with me every Monday through Friday, spread the word. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.